What up, what up, what up, y'all? What's going on? Welcome to today's edition of Swag Talk, the show we cover the swag inside and out. I'm your tour guide around the swag, C Wells coming at you. And today we are going to talk about the NCAA tournament. Um, Grambling, Montana State playing in the first four. Uh, Big game coming up. So we're going to talk about this game and we're going to kind of go over what to expect from this game with these Bobcats of Montana State and the Grambling State Tigers. And this is the first four game starts Wednesday at 5:40 p.m. So y'all make sure y'all check that out in Dayton, Ohio. So let's go ahead and get into this, man. We're not gonna do too much of intro, but I do have my swag tournament recap and NCAA tournament preview up on bustingbrackets.com. So you can find it there, or you can get the link on my socials: Facebook at Swag Talk, Twitter Swag Talk 76, Instagram Swag Talk. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, and feel free to comment your thoughts on today's action. So let's go ahead, like I said, let's go ahead and get into this and not fool around much. And we'll start off with the Montana State Bobcats. This team went 17-17 on the regular season, 9-9 in conference. They went on a run in the conference tournament and won it all. They on a 4-game winning streak. They in the tournament they beat Weber State 91-82. They beat Sacramento State 74-71, and then they beat Montana 85-70. So they played some pretty solid games. They also beat Weber State to close out the season on March 4th. So they're on a 4-game winning streak, including 2 wins over one of the better teams in the conference. And like I said, they are on a nice streak right now. The one thing I will say about this team is from a couple of games that I've had a chance to kind of look at, they are capable of going on runs. They beat Montana State by 15, but they trailed that game by about 13 or 14 points and went on a 21-0 run in the second half to overtake the Grizzlies and get the win. Other than that, this team has not really had a lot of streaks throughout the season. They've had a couple 2-game winning streaks, mainly against non-D1 opponents. They do have a victory over Cal this season. That's one of their few non-conference wins, and they had a 4-game losing streak in the middle of conference play, and that's pretty much the only major streak they've had in conference play. Other than that, they kind of like a team that wins and loses. So they're not really that consistent in that aspect. They do have a first-year coach. He's finishing up his first season, and this program has won the last three Big Sky Conference tournaments. So the program itself is familiar with making an NCAA tournament. This group of guys is basically new. They returned, I believe it was like 23% of their production from last season. So not a lot of guys coming back. They have some transfers that came in and some guys that stepped up that were on the bench in previous years. So they're still a team that's kind of finding themselves, but they're a very experienced team when it comes to classification in college. They have a lot of juniors and seniors. They have a couple grad guys playing heavy minutes, and so they are a team that kind of that has a lot of guys that have been around basketball that just really haven't really played that much themselves major minutes. They start two seniors and 2 juniors and a sophomore. So their starting lineup is pretty experienced, pretty decent size. They do have some height coming off the bench at times with a 6'11" and a 6'10" guy off the bench, but they primarily run like a swag team, 6 foot to 6'7", 6'8". They're top guys to look out for. Tyler Patterson, he's a 6'8" junior guard, 6'8", 190. Robert Ford III is the do-it-all guy. He's 6 foot, 180. He's a redshirt senior guard. Brian Goracki, He's a forward, 6'6", 210. He's a junior. Eddie Turner, the third, is a grad student. He's a guard, 6'2", 185. And Sam Lacholot is 6'7", 215. He's also a junior, and he plays forward. And Brandon Walker is 6'7", 250. He's a forward, and he's a sophomore. Those are really the main guys that play a lot. They've had they've had a couple guys kind of step in from time to time. Um, John Olmstead is probably a guy to look out for off the bench. He's 6'10", grad student, transfer from Arizona State. He was a walk on at Arizona State, and now he's playing here. He's a guy. If he's on the floor, you can look for them to throw him some lobs. He's a rim runner, so he's definitely going to try to get active, get to the lane, and throw down a dunk or two, and kind of energize their team. They have some athleticism. Ford is definitely a great player. Like I say, he's 6', 180. He can score inside. He can score outside. He can hit that mid-range shot. Um, Turner is a slasher. He can shoot as well, but he's probably the guy who's primarily going to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. I noticed that he likes to drive a lot. Walker is probably the closest thing they have to a power guy. He, like I said, 6'7", 250, so he's gonna try to bang bodies and get inside. But he can, he's gonna let them fly from three as well. And Patterson is probably their do it all type of guy. In terms of like more of a wing type guy at 6'8", 190, he can definitely shoot the three, and he has a nice mid range jumper that he'll pull from time to time. So statistically, the Bobcats, they average 75.1 points per game, and they give up 74.1. So that's a scoring margin of 1.1. They give up a decent amount of points. They shoot 46% from the field. The opponents shoot 46 as well. So they are not really going to stop you much. You can get your shots in at any time really. Both teams average about 26 field goals made. They shoot the three very well, and they shoot it a lot. They shoot three. They've made 306 threes, which leads the Big Sky Conference, and they attempted 833 threes, which also leads the Big Sky. They shoot 36%. That leads the league, and they average 9 made threes a game. So they are not scared to let it fly, and everybody pretty much, other than maybe a couple guys that step on the floor, are gonna shoot threes. Sometimes, when you're a team like that, you're gonna shoot a lot of them, and they're not always gonna fall, but they will let it fly. So you have to be mindful on the perimeter. Anybody that's out there is gonna shoot it. They don't really waste a lot of time on offense. So if they touch it, it's flying. They're not really gonna work the ball around a lot. They're gonna try to get good shots, but if the three is there, they're taking it. The opponents shoot 33%, 224, 671. They shoot 73% from the free throw line, and opponents shoot 71% from the free throw line. They average 12 and a half made free throws a game. The opponents 14 and a half. They don't rebound that well. They average 30 and a half rebounds on the season. The opponent's 35.1, so they get out rebounded by 4.4 rebounds per game. They average 13 assists per game, so they're pretty good at sharing the ball around. 445 total assists. The opponent's 420 and 12.4 assists per game. Now, one thing they do well is not turn the ball over. They average 11.6 turnovers per game. They force 13.6, which leads the Big Sky, and they average 15.8 points off a turnover. So they do a good job of getting in transition once they get those turnovers and scoring when they have the ball. They are not like I said, they don't have a lot of size that regularly play, so they don't block a lot of shots. They average 2.4 blocks per game, which I think was next to last in the conference. They lead the league in steals at 8.2 per game, 280 total. So they will get their hands on the ball, and they will convert it into points, and they love to shoot the three. Those are the two real things that you gotta be mindful of about this team. Like I said, they're not a team that's gonna body you up and be physical with you. They're gonna try to shoot you out the game. And if they can get it, if they can get their big guys to come in and dunk a ball or two and kind of energize them. That's what they'll do. But for the most part, if you keep your eyes on number 20, Robert Ford, then you know where this offense is going to go because he does basically everything for this team. He averages 33.9 minutes. They play about 8 guys, and the bulk of the bulk of their minutes go to their starters. Patterson averages 35 minutes per game. Ford 33.9. Goraki 30.2. Turner 28.3. Uh, Lacholak averages 22.3. Walker averages 19.6. And then Olmstead, who's like I said, he played a lot recently. He's averaging 9 minutes per game. And Naduka is another bench guy. He averages 13.6 minutes per game. So like I said, they're gonna go 7 or 8 deep, but they will, they're gonna get heavy minutes from their starters, and they don't have a lot of guys that have started games. Their starters have basically started the bulk of all their games, so they have guys that they pretty much trust, and that says that their starters haven't really been injured. They haven't really had a lot of injuries to phase their season. Um, but right now, Walker leads the team in field goal percentage in terms of guys who played a lot. He's shooting 55% from the field. Like I said, he'll get in there and bang around and try to get some layups around the basket and use his size. Lacholot, he shoots 48%. He shoots 45%. Ford shoots 48% as a guard that shoots a lot of threes. 48% field goal percentage is tremendous. Like I said, everybody else it also kind of shoots in that 40% range. Turner shoots 44. Patterson and Goraki, they both shoot 43 and 41% respectively. So they shoot the ball really well. When it comes to threes, Ford leads the team in 3-point percentage at 42%. He's 78 of 183. He has the most attempts and the most makes on the season. Also, Tyler Patterson, he has 71 makes on 185 attempts. 38% for him from the 3-point line. Goraki, 65 of 180 for 36% from three. Lacholat also shoots 31%. Walker, he's 13 of 41, so he shoots 31%. So basically, everybody that plays heavy minutes is shooting at least 30% from three, and some of that is lack of volume, but they do have everybody's going to shoot it. Even Olmstead, their big guy, he has 5 3-point attempts, and he's 2 of 5 on the season. Jed Miller's a guy off the bench. He's 9 of 40. So if he gets in, he's gonna let it fly. Taking that many threes in only a few games of action. At the free throw line, Goraki, he shoots 87%, 95 of 109. Definitely not the guy you want to put at the line. Ford shoots 78%, 111 and 141. Patterson has only taken 14 free throws in 34 games, so he's not going to drive to the basket much. He's not going to draw a lot of contact, but he shoots 78%. Turner also shoots 76%, and Lacholot shoots 100, who shoots 70%. Olmstead is probably the guy. Him and Walker are the guys that you want to put at the line. Olmstead shoots 60%, and Walker, he shoots 59%. When it comes to scoring, Ford leads the team at 15.9 points per game. Goraki 13.5. Walker is at 13. Turner is at 9.5. Patterson 8.4. Latrolat 5.4. Olmstead at 3.3. And one of the things that stood out to me was their leading rebounder is Robert Ford, and he's a 6-foot guard, and he averages 7 rebounds per game, 7.6, almost 8 rebounds per game as a guard at 6 foot. He's definitely going to be everywhere the ball is. Just for comparison, I think Jonathan Aku leads Grambling in rebounding at like 5 rebounds per game, and that's a guy that's 6'10", 6'11". So he's gonna, you just have to know where this guy is at all times. You really need to know where this guy is at all times because he is going to be around the basketball all game long. So if you can keep tabs on where he is, then you have a good chance Other than him, Goraki averages 4.3 rebounds per game. Walker 3.9. Lacholot 3.7. Turner 2.2. Patterson 2.1. Olmstead 1.7. Turner leads the team in assists at 114. Ford is at 102. Those are the two top assist guys on the team. Um, Ford also has 100 steals, so he will get his hands on the ball. He also has 7 blocks. As a 6-foot guy, he is very athletic, and he makes this team go. So if you want to kind of know what to do, then you keep tabs on number 20. He has a team high on the season of 30 points. He also has a team high 7 threes made. So you really just have to know where he is. He does have a 13 rebound game. That just stands out to me a lot to be a guy that size and have a 13 rebound game. But he's definitely gonna be the guy to kind of make some things happen. He will turn the ball over. So if you can kind of pressure him, you might be able to force him to turn the ball over when you got a guy that handles the ball as much as he does and is being around the ball as much as he does. He's gonna turn it over. I mean, that's just the law of averages. So this team can be a tough matchup. Obviously being a 5 seed in their conference, they're not a great team. They have flaws, but in a 1-game situation, you definitely need to take them serious because they will shoot the 3 early and often. If you're Grambling, your main objective is to start this game off pretty quickly. I'm not saying you need to start off, on a 9-10-0 run, but I think you just need to play smart early. The nerves are going to be there playing in your first tournament game. Having all these people talk about this is your first trip to the NCAA tournament. All of that is going to be there. You do have the opportunity to take a day and let the tournament start and develop in front of you, and then play. So you won't be thrown out there on the first day, but you kind of really don't want to, you really don't want to kind of find yourself in playing from behind because that's not really what Grambling does. Grambling, just for completion's sake, Grambling is 20-14 on the season, and they are the SWAC tournament champs, SWAC regular season champs, 14-4 in conference. They're on a 3-game winning streak because they dropped their last game to Bama State, but then they went through the conference tournament 3 games and won those 3 games and looked pretty good in all 3 of those games. So they've been pretty hot all season. Haven't really had a lot of off games all year. They don't have a losing streak at all in conference. So they've been pretty tough to beat anywhere right now. They haven't had a lot of they haven't had any out of conference success this season compared to last season. But this is still, this is a team that had to kind of replace a couple guys from last year. So they kind of had to find their way, but they're probably where they should be at right now. And that's a very dangerous team. Statistically, Grambling is a team that averages 67 points per game. So they don't, like I said, they don't score a lot. They give up 69 points. So they want to keep this game, if possible, in the low to mid 60s, maybe 70. Montana State, they want this game to be up and down. But the one thing about Montana State is if they give up more than 70 points, they lose typically more than they win. If they score more than 70 points, then they win more than they lose. So if you're Grambling, you want to definitely keep this team under 70 points, and you want to get yourself as close to that 70 number as you can. A typical Grambling game is going to be like 68-61 or something like that. They're going to control the tempo and they're going to play physical ball. So, like I said, they're 67.6 points per game, scored 69 allowed. They shoot 44% from the field, opponents 43. Grambling shoots 33% from 3. They are 179 of 525. They make 5.2 threes per game. So as you can see, the difference is huge. That's a 4 3-point difference between the two teams, which is like 12 points. That's a 12-point difference really in any game. The opponents shoot 33% as well, 6.5 threes made per game. Grambling shoots 70% from the free throw line, opponent 73. Grambling averages 32.2 rebounds per game. The opponent's 33.2. So Grambling does have some size inside, and they do have some physicality. So I think they can win the rebounding battle here. They just have to force this team to miss shots. Grambling averages 9.8 assists per game, 332. The opponent's 13.4. Grambling turns the ball over 13.4 times per game. The opponent's 12.9. So they need to take care of the ball against a team that forces turnovers pretty well. Grambling scores 14.5 points off a turnover. The opponent's 15.3. Grambling averages 7.4 steals per game, 252 total. The opponent's 7.1, 241. So they are comparable in steals. Blocks, Grambling averages 3.1 blocks per game, 105 on the season. The opponent's 2.9, 97 total. And when you look at Grambling, minutes wise, they play about 7-8. They play about 6 or 7 guys, 7-8 guys consistently. Burnett's the leading minute guy at 32.8. Moden 29.1. Smith 27.7. Dozier 26.7. Aku 22.6. Johnson 21.2. Lewis 17.8. Stevenson 17.6. Munford is at 10. Kofor is at 9.1, and Murrow, he's at 8.5. Other than that, most other guys don't really play that much. So those are the guys that you're gonna see on the floor a lot. Johnson is a physical guy. He's gonna get in there, and he's gonna bang bodies, and really gonna turn the tempo of the game a little bit. So in the SWAC tournament, he was able to play really physical. It's gonna be interesting to see how the refs in this first 4 game handle that physicality from a guy like that. That really is going to get out there and bang bodies. They're going to, would that be an issue for Grambling with the refs calling it tighter in this situation? We'll see. But Aku leads the team in field goal percentage at 57%. Lewis 53, Johnson 49, Burnett 45, Dozier 45, Kofor 42, Smith 40, Moden also at 40. 3-pointers. Lewis shoots 46%, 30 or 65. Moden is 43 or 116. He shoots 37%. Burnett shoots 33%, 24 or 68. Kofor is 6 or 17 for 35%. Dozier is 37 for 111 for 33%. Smith, who only shoots 30% in the regular season, he had a great championship game in the first half, making a ton of threes. So he's capable of doing that, but he doesn't consistently do it. Moten had a 5 3-point game in the tournament against Bethune-Cookman. Dozier is a guy who can score a lot at any given time. So, both of those guys are more than capable of getting hot. And I think they can match up with that backcourt of Montana State. They're just going to have to be really smart with the basketball. Moden shoots 80% from the line. Smith 78. Stevenson 78. Dozier shoots 75%. Kofor 73%. Burnett 69. Lewis 66. Murrow 65. Johnson is at 59, and Aku is at 44. So want to avoid having him get to the line, but playing inside like that, he's probably going to draw some fouls. So hopefully he can knock down those free throws. Dozier leads the team at 13.1 points per game, but he's capable of scoring points. He does have a 34-point game this season against Washington State, and I think he had a 27-point game in SWAC play. Moden had a 26-point game in the conference tournament. So either one of those guys can get hot. Dozier is at 13.1. Moden is 11.8. Burnett is at 10.1. Smith 9.7. Lewis 7.9. Johnson 7.6. Stevenson 4.6. Aku 4.5. Kofor 2.8. Munford is at 1.8. Rebounds. Burnett leads the team 6.1 rebounds per game. Aku 5.2. Smith 4.6. Johnson 3.9. Dozier 2.9. Moten 2.9. So, they like I said, they rebound a little bit better than Montana State. I think the size that Grambling has can kind of make some things happen for them in that aspect. They're not, Grambling doesn't want to get up and down the court with you, so that's the difference. It's a clash of tempos. Moulton leads the team with 88 assists. Stevenson has 72 off the bench. Steals, Moulton has 59 on the season. Dozier has 36, and Aku has 36 blocks, and Smith has 32. So they have a couple guys that are gonna really block shots for Grambling. They're different styles of guy. Smith's more of a wing guy, but he can jump out the gym, and Aku is the big body inside. So they're gonna be aggressive defensively. Grambling's not gonna back down defensively. It's important for them to just guard that perimeter. If you can guard that perimeter and make them take tough shots, you're gonna give yourself a pretty good shot to winning this game. Just looking at this team size-wise compared to Montana State, Dozier is 6'1", 195. You got Mumford and Kofor coming off the bench. They're both about 6'3", 6'4", 170 pounds for Mumford, 190 for Kofor. Stevenson is 6'2", 175. Burnett is 6'5", 205, but he can really get in there and mix it up. He's had a couple double-doubles this season. He can hit the three. You don't want him to fall in love with it, but he can hit it. Moulton is 6'1", 170. Smart guard. Really, 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 really tough. Like I say, experienced, been around. I'm glad that he gets his opportunity to play in an NCAA tournament, because this guy has put in work his time at Grambling. He's a grad student, so he's been around a long time, and he's finally getting that opportunity. Johnson is 6'8", 240, and he throws every bit of that 240 around. So him against those bodies that Montana State has can help Grambling. I mean, he can get in there and kind of bang bodies with them. He played at Alabama A&M, transferred to Wisconsin, Milwaukee, then to Grambling. So he's an experienced guy. This is his first chance to make the NCAA tournament. Jordan Smith is 6'7", 180. He's a guy who can jump. He's more that wing guy that can get up and down the floor. He can hop. He can block shots. He can shoot the three when he needs to, but he's definitely a guy who's going to get to the basket and finish off. And now Aku 6'11", 255. Big body inside. Got a nice little touch around the basket. He hit a really reverse layup in the post. And he if he can get going inside, your offense is just that much better. He's gonna be physical. He's not easy to push around, and he's gonna be tough. Merle is another guy that comes on the bench. He's 6'4", 175. And that's pretty much the guys that they have. Lewis 6'6", 205 as well. He's a grad student as well. So as you can see, Grambling they don't have a lot of size. Aku's really the tallest guy. Everybody else is running like 6'7", 6'8". So they match size pretty well with what Montana State plays. So you don't have to really worry about them getting, outsized or outbodied, if you want to put it that way. They should be, I think Grambling has a great chance in this game. I mean, obviously, being a SWAC guy, you always want the SWAC to win these type of games. And, you look at some of these matchups, and sometimes these teams come into the tournament as a low champion from that tournament with a low seed, and then they play a great game of ball because our teams don't make the shots that they should in those situations. So it's important for Grambling to just limit their turnovers, make the shots that they take, and control the tempo of the game. All that's pretty straightforward. I don't think Grambling needs to do anything ridiculous to win this game. Just play the style of ball that you've been playing the last few weeks. Don't let the moment be too big. I think Coach Jackson is going to have these guys ready. But I just, whenever you have a team that hasn't been somewhere before, two things can happen. You can either get there and play like your hair is on fire because you don't know any better, or you can get in your head and make a lot of mistakes early and then maybe work your way out of it as the game, comes to a conclusion. I think Grambling is a smart enough team to not play that way. The one thing they did in every game in the conference tournament was get off to a good start. If Grambling plays from ahead, they're tough to beat. If they play from behind, they do have the guys that can score, but you don't really want Grambling to have to play from behind a lot. They've done it against Southern twice, but you don't want that to be, you don't want that to be, what their MO is going to be in their game. They did it against Bama State. They did it against Bama A&M. But you don't want that to be what Grambling is. You want Grambling to get out in front, control the tempo, play defense, rebound, knock down the key shots, get your guards going. And I think Grambling's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a tough game, though, because Montana State is going to knock down some threes, and they're playing really well. They're feeling themselves right now. So I think they're going to be a tough team to knock out, but I think Grambling's going to put in the work and get the win in this game. And the winner gets Purdue. And Purdue got knocked off last year by Fairleigh Dickinson, so it's not impossible for the team to be beaten in the first round, but it's one step at a time. Grambling first NCAA tournament trip, and I think they're going to get their first win. So I'm really high on Grambling. If y'all watch my show or read my articles, y'all know I'm very high on Grambling basketball. So I think they deserve to be here. I think they deserve everything that they have gotten so far. And I think they're going to win this game. So I think Montana State going to put up a fight. They're going to be a close game, but I do think Grambling's going to be able to control the tempo enough to win this game. So with that being said, I'm your tour guide around the swag, Sewell signing out, and I'm going to catch y'all on the rebound. Peace.